Welcome to Quays News. Coming up on today's show, runners dress bright for cancer.
We get some bright ideas at the Manchester Science Festival.
Manchester hosts the Taekwondo Grand Prix.
And the zombies are back, but all for a good cause. Hello, we start with glow sticks, fairy lights and glow-in-the-dark face paints. Sounds like a rave, doesn't it? Well, they illuminated Salford Quays on Saturday night. Over 500 people walked 10k in aid of the Christies Hospital. Penny James investigates.
Catherine Warham is getting ready for the Christies Night of Neon. She lost her mum to cancer as a child, as well as her cousin, and her dad is now suffering with skin cancer.
The event tonight is solely for my cousin, Trisha. She's just part of the reason why we walked tonight. My mother did die at the Christies from breast cancer. The last experience I ever had with my mum was one of my aunties took me on the bus, as you do, and we weren't really allowed to go into the ward. She had to come to the fire exit door. The last thing she said to me was she gave me 30p and said get some sweets, and that was the last time I ever saw her alive. She died after that.
Despite the suffering, Catherine is standing up to cancer and raising money for the place so close to her heart. The fundraiser kicked off with music from Northern Band Vintage, activities including face painting and a vigorous warm-up. The Christie is a place close to many people's hearts, so why are nights like tonight so important for the charity?
The Christie charity needs to raise over 14 million a year to support the work of the Christie, and events like this make up over 2 million of that income, and we're really lucky that we have a lot of local support.
Many participants have personal stories involving cancer.
I've got a mate here, an old mate, her husband died of cancer. My wife's got leukemia and my granddad had cancer, and that's why I'm doing it.
I'm doing it because firstly my two uncles died of cancer about 4 years ago, and my mum's sister died about 2 years ago, and my mum's now got ovarian cancer and she's being treated with chemotherapy at the Christie. So I've just been inspired by the work of the hospital.
Cancer patients may be driven to very dark places, but this evening sufferers and supporters alike shone through that darkness and lit up the night. Penny James, Quays TV News.
A hotel chain based in Greater Manchester has been voted the worst in the UK for the second year running. Britannia Hotels came bottom of a survey of 29 chains conducted by consumer magazine Which.
The Altrincham-based business was awarded just 1 star for categories including bedrooms and cleanliness. Here's what some people around Manchester had to say about the hotel.
It doesn't look that inviting. It looks a little bit dingy, a little bit outdated, and quite honestly I'd rather pick somewhere else to go for a drink.
I don't think it looks very nice myself.
Would you say
it's a bit, well yeah, because they've got a light out for one, so it's not the nicest attraction, is it?
I've seen a lot worse modern hotels. I prefer to see somewhere like that than some travel lodge.
Okay.
We contacted Britannia Hotels for comment on the results of the survey, but had no response before going on air.
The Manchester Science Festival kicked off last week, so our reporter, Siobhan Maguire, decided she was due some scientific tuition. Here's a small glimpse of what she saw.
Imagine breaking a code that would help win a war. Well, the Manchester Science Festival showcases how University of Manchester mathematician Alan Turing did just that. But his next puzzle was of a slightly different nature.
After the war was he started thinking about the question, why do some animals have stripes, some animals have spots? How do patterns develop from mixtures of chemicals? And what he showed by considering just a simple set of equations involving two chemicals reacting together was that if you have a little bit of diffusion, and if you combine diffusion with reaction at just the right rate, you can get vastly different patterns, either spots or stripes, with a tiny change in just one variable in the system.
and it was mind games next as I tried the virtual reality headset. It allows you to experience other worlds, but it's also giving those working in medicine and the military some real-life experiences.
So for people who have had to have limbs amputated, they can have this treatment where it will map the position of their existing limb to the position of their missing limb, and that alleviates a lot of the symptoms they get. It's also seeing use by people like surgeons and people who work in dangerous environments. By wearing the Rift, they are able to effectively feel like they are in that environment and gain an appreciation of what it might be like if they were to, for example, perform a surgery or have to defuse a bomb.
And hundreds of scientists, both big and small, have been experimenting and learning at the festival this week.
I really like the virtual reality because you go inside a game and you can move around.
Just the variety of different things that are on display here, really, and the interactiveness for the children.
You get like prizes and you get stuff.
And what you learned here?
And you learn things, so yeah.
The volcanic eruptions and tornadoes continue this week. This is Siobhan Maguire, Quays TV News.
Liam Gallagher has announced that on Twitter his band BDI have split. He said the band were no longer and thanked fans for their support. Some have speculated that this may signal a reunion of the Gallagher brothers and Oasis.
Sounds ominous, no longer. In response, at the George Jobin tweeted, BDI have split up. Oasis reunion at Glastonbury, let it be true. And at Joasis, good name, says sad times, very sad times. BDI was so good, one can only hope this means Oasis reunion soon enough. So Reese, are you upset that BDI have split up?
Sorry Dan, unfortunately I'm not, and I prefer to spend my money on watching football. And Eleni McFarlane has been out to find out just how much it would cost me for a day out at Salford City.
Following the BBC's recent survey examining the price of football, higher divisions have been exposed for their overcharging, whilst some lower league clubs have displayed surprising fairness.
In the higher divisions, I think we need to look at it. I think that we are pricing a lot of supporters out of the game, particularly with the amount of money that's coming into the game. We need to make sure that we're very respectful of the supporters, and because of the money that's coming into the game, you know, maybe we should look after the supporters a bit better. Prices are getting out of hand, particularly considering what you pay on the continent to watch the game. So I think it's something that the Premier League needs to look at.
I've come to Salford City FC's match against Mossley to see just how much £10 can get me on a normal match day.
Whilst Premier League clubs such as Manchester United charge £3 for a match programme, down the road at Salford City FC they ask for a mere £1.50 and charge £4 for student entry.
But down at our level, of course, it's for everybody. We keep the costs down as much as we can. It's £7 to come in, £4 for a senior citizen. C'est la vie these days. You either pay what you're asked to pay in the Premier League or coming slightly down in the Championship. Of course, it's a lot cheaper down in Leagues 1 and 2, and in non-league it's cheaper still. And you get good value, you get players in these leagues playing because they enjoy the game and they put everything into it, and not necessarily in some of the Premier League teams when they've come from the hot countries and are not very keen to play when it gets a bit colder.
Salford started the match hoping to preserve their unbeaten league record, which now stands at 12. Sam Madeley scored in the reverse fixture earlier this season, where Salford won 3-1, and today he produced the assist for Lee Neville to score his first goal since joining the club from rivals FC United, giving the hosts a 1-0 lead at half-time. I thought it was only right to indulge in a half-time snack. A burger set me back another £2.50, and a pint was a no-go unfortunately. Shortly after the hour mark, Mossley equalised when Andrew Keogh scored his second goal in as many games. Salford threw away a goal lead last weekend, losing 2-1 to Prescott Cables in the FA Trophy, so when Sam Robinson headed home there were fears of another defeat looming. However, Jake Hibbs rescued a point on his league debut for the club with a stunning long-range effort to keep Salford second, 3 points behind leaders Darlington, but with 3 games in hand. Eleni McFarlane, Quays TV News from Moor Lane.
Manchester Central played host to the World Grand Prix last weekend. 256 athletes competed, with British athletes Jay Jones and Aaron Cook both claiming silver medals. Oliver Mackenzie has more.
This is the second time Manchester has hosted the World Taekwondo Federation Grand Prix.
the city boasts a new academy for the nation's biggest prospects. This, in tandem with passionate fans that gave athletes such as world number 1 Aaron Cook and Damon Sampson, to name a few, such emotional support, has got athlete Andrew Deere very excited about the future.
Do you think Manchester's really starting to become the home of Taekwondo for Great Britain?
Well, there is. We've been here a while now, and it's just we're developing out. We've moved from site to site, and now we're over at 10 acres, and it's a case of that's extending. That building will commence in January, so it's just going from strive to strive with, you know, sports city as it is, and we're just developing, and a lot of funding's come in, which is amazing, so that's helped us all.
And one last question, just how important are these academies to the development of the sport of Taekwondo?
Well, the benefit that we have that not many other countries have, we have like a centralised base, so we're all together and we're all competing against each other, so it's a case of, like, all of my main rivals are in my team, so we train with them every day, so we're getting better and better, so that's how it is. So it's really good that we're all in Manchester together.
Ever since the heroics of Jay Jones and Latana Mohammed, Taekwondo is a sport that's gone from strength to strength. Events such as this prove that it's Manchester today, tomorrow the world. Oliver Mackenzie, Quays News.
And finally, in our last show we brought you the news of the Manchester father who was auctioning off his 7-month-old son's allegiance to the red or blue half of the city. The highest bid so far is £190. Remember to send us screenshots of your bids and donations using the hashtag #BabyBids. Have you bid yet, Dan?
No, I haven't. Well, it doesn't work for me. I'm a Blackburn Rovers fan. If I tried to get a bid to support Rovers, I'd probably have the NSPCC call for me.
Now we're over to the weather with Joanna.
The weather's constantly changing over the next few days. After a nice dry morning, it looks like widespread rain will hit the region. Although temperatures could reach even 18 degrees, the winds will make you feel much cooler, especially along the coast. Wednesday's looking a lot colder with lighter winds and sunny spells. It's expected to stay dry throughout the day. The weather should continue to stay similar on Thursday, unfortunately, turning wet and windy for Friday, so if you're planning to go trick-or-treating, make sure you include some extra layers in your spooky outfits. Happy Halloween!
Thanks, Joanna. And finally, who else can boast in their day job that they were chased by zombies? Well, I can. I joined the undead for a leisurely stroll as part of the Mencap Zombie Walk. When you see people stagger around Manchester, you probably think, well, they've had one too many. But that's encouraged here at the Printworks for the Zombie Walk. Manchester witnessed the Night of the Living Dead as a horde of 1,500 zombie fundraisers invested the streets in aid of Mencap.
Printworks put this event on every year, and this year they're using it to raise money for young ambassadors. These are people who are 16 to 25 years old, and they're currently working with Mencap. They've just either in education at the moment, or they've not gone to college, or they've finished college and they're looking for that next step to employment. So it's just sort of bridging that gap between education and employment. So they're doing volunteering. So that a lot of the students tonight are Mencap Young Ambassadors.
I risked life and limbs and brains to communicate with the Walking Dead. So why are you here today?
Because I love the zombies.
We love the dead.
You love the dead?
We love the dead, and the more gruesome the better. And it's for charity.
We like gruesome. Yes, we like gruesome.
What makes a good zombie?
Plenty of blood, plenty of guts and gore, and the walk.
And the walk. It's more of a stagger, isn't it?
It's a stagger, yeah, like a drunken stagger.
Right, so have you been practicing your stagger over the last couple of weeks?
We've been staggering for years.
What's your name?
Brains!
Right, and your job occupation?
More brains!
Okay. And what are the political ramifications, you would say, of the fracking around Greater Manchester?
Brains!
For one night only, I was down with the dead. Dan McLaughlin, Quays TV News. Please don't eat me.
Well, I'm glad you're still here, Dan.
Me too.
4 new towers have been built at Salford Quays. Planning permission was granted by Salford Council, with building work due to begin near Media City early next year.
The towers will mainly be for apartments, but will also house a private gym and a cinema for residents. So that's all for Quays News. You can follow us on Twitter at Quays News, or you can look at our website, www.quaysnews.net. We'll be back on Thursday at 1:30. Goodbye.
Thank you.